9/11 plotter and terrorist leader Ayman al-Zawahiri has been killed. On Monday, a U.S. kinetic Hellfire R9X single-target missile, I'm going to explain what that is later, targeted and killed the terrorist leader in Kabul, Afghanistan, after months of careful planning by the administration. According to the White House, President Biden had reportedly instructed officials to ensure that any strike on al-Zawahiri be made with no civilian casualties, including members of al-Zawahiri's family. So they said, look, we got to take this guy out, but no civilian casualties. Find me a way to do this, and let's get it done. And unlike, of course, his predecessor, Donald Trump, Biden was very much involved with the planning and execution of this. And so if the White House is right about this, then, and no one else was harmed in this strike, good job. No collateral damage. That is a rare CIA W. Okay. And again, let me be honest, I don't actually mind if one of the guys who was behind plotting the deaths of thousands of people gets taken out by a drone covered in swords. Again, we'll get to that. Okay. As long as it's that person and they don't harm other, actual like innocent civilians, I'm okay with this. You can call me a bad lefty for it. Fair enough. But that brings me to Donald Trump, the predecessor. Now, Trump also had the opportunity to take out al-Zawahiri, but for some curious reason, he didn't. Now, again, Donald Trump says, well, Al-Qaeda, I defeated Al-Qaeda, I defeated ISIS, I defeated the terrorisms, therefore, we don't have any more terrorisms. Okay, sure. Now, according to NBC News, however, again, we know he didn't take out Al-Qaeda because we just took out the number 2 in Al-Qaeda. In fact, the reason that Trump didn't is because, according to NBC News, Donald Trump didn't think that he was famous enough. What? Okay. Now, Osama bin Laden's second in command, that's who al-Zawahiri was. Okay? So Osama bin Laden, when he was alive, al-Zawahiri was the second in command of Al-Qaeda. He was one of the main plotters of the 9/11 terrorist attacks, killed 3,000 Americans. So now, after bin Laden was taken out in a raid by the Obama administration, al-Zawahiri had taken over and was commanding Al-Qaeda. Now, Trump was brought this information, this intelligence, and again, you cannot combine intelligence and Donald Trump in the same sentence. Sorry.
I know words. I have the best words.
Okay. Actually, it's more like
cognitively there.
No, he's not. But okay. Now, look, when the intelligence got to Trump was like, I don't know who this guy is. I don't know him. I never heard of him. He must be a coffee boy. Oh, really? Oh, okay. So now, according to the report, intelligence officials briefed Trump many times about senior terrorist figures that the CIA wanted to track down and eliminate, specifically mentioning al-Zawahiri, according to NBC News. But 2 people familiar with the briefings told NBC News that Trump chose not to pursue al-Zawahiri because he did not recognize his name. I didn't recognize his name. Oh, is that the reason? I don't know this guy. He would say, quote, I never heard of any of these people, and instead suggested targeting bin Laden's son, Hamza bin Laden, who again has the bin Laden name, so therefore, oh, I know that guy, he's a bin Laden, those guys are bad, right? It's amazing. Now, here's the thing. Was Hamza planning any attacks? Not according to intelligence that they had, not that they knew of. But instead of getting al-Zawahiri, the Trump administration successfully got Hamza. Trump confirmed in 2019 that the younger bin Laden had been killed, despite intelligence assessments showing the greater dangers posed by Zawahiri and the unlikelihood Hamza was in the immediate line of succession. The president thought differently the former CIA official Douglas London wrote in Just Security in 2020. A Pentagon official also told the news outlet that they targeted Hamza because it was, quote, the only name he knew. It's the only name he knew. You know.
Person, woman, man, camera, TV.
I mean, you can just imagine the conversation. What about this guy? Let's take this guy out. Well, Mr. President, he's not really all that important. In fact, he may be a literal coffee boy to Al-Zawahiri, who's a much bigger threat. I don't know that guy, but I know Bin Laden. I've heard of him. Bin Laden, he did very bad things. He did the worst things. Okay, but he's not. I mean, we have the head of Al-Qaeda right there. Right there. The fake news. He can't be held head of Al-Qaeda if I've never heard of him. Moron, idiot, dumbass. That was the president of the United States. He had no idea what he was doing. In fact, the official also added that Trump's obsession with bin Laden's son is one example of the president's preference for a celebrity targeted killing. Think about that for a second. Roll that phrase around in your head. Celebrity targeted killing. As if normal targeted killing is not enough. Okay. Versus prioritizing options that intelligence says could prove better for U.S. security. Voters handed this guy the most powerful military in the world with its incredibly devastating technology. The missile. It had no warhead on it. You don't need a warhead on this missile because what happens is that they laser guide it. They drop it from a drone. They laser guide it to one person. When it gets close to getting into impact, right? It will there will be 6 blades, and it's really difficult for me to explain this for some reason. Words are hard. The blades will come out, 6 of them, and basically chop this person into bits. That's it. I mean, it deploys the blades to puree the target. That's what happened to Al-Zawahiri. It has been nicknamed the flying Jinsu, like the Jinsu knife. Remember those ads? Hey, right-wingers, this is a great time to ask you this question. If you believe that you are going to overthrow the United States government that has flying slap chop drones with your AR-15, you might want to think about that for a minute, okay? I know it's not your strong suit, but you might want to think about it. Maybe I shouldn't overthrow democracy. Now, the thing, again, that makes the weapon so basically very interesting and also terrifying is that it's highly precise, leaves no explosion, and don't mistake this for praise. The fact that anybody has this kind of weapon is absolutely terrifying. That said, is it better than carpet bombing an entire city or dropping the mother of all bombs to get one guy? Like you could imagine Trump doing? Yeah, I guess given that alternative. Look, I'm critical of the drone program. And the reason I'm critical of that program is because of the civilian casualties that it can conflict, that it has, or that it can inflict, and the number of casualties from the signature strikes, innocent civilians caught in the middle, that have been documented in the United States drone war. Not only that, but it's also dehumanizing, desensitizing when it comes to the horrors of war, allowing somebody to control an instrument of death half a world away. It is terrifying. But if the White House is to be believed that this weapon was successful in only taking out a target that we know who it is, we know he was a plotter of, I wouldn't call him a mastermind because I think it's ridiculous to call any of these idiots masterminds. They're fundamentalists that, led to the deaths of 3,000 Americans and then numerous deaths all over the world with the United States super overreaction and going into bombing Afghanistan and bombing Iraq and leading all this death and destruction and a waste of life and money and resources, etc. I mean, look, going after that guy, getting Al-Zawahiri with this and only destroying the windows of the porch that he was standing on while killing no innocent civilians, well, then I guess Biden in this case actually did something interesting. Leagues above Trump. Trump, of course, did not care at all about killing innocent civilians. Now, of course, I'm going to be skeptical until I know, for sure otherwise, because again, it is the intelligence agency, this is the CIA. But if true, W for Biden. Look, the Biden administration has been, in my view, a failure on so many different domestic fronts. But when it comes to foreign policy, better than what we've had recently. And so he could be far, far worse on foreign policy. But again, the things that are a benefit is him pulling out of Afghanistan and maybe not abusing the drone program to kill civilians.